Everything you saw on social media about business is wrong. Is that an exaggeration? Well, maybe. Let's think about it for a moment. I'm sure for most of us, our first exposure to business was some dude flashing a watch in front of a car with that annoying money spraying thing. Just so high off the ground it gave Snoop Dogg a run for his money. And it's not any different for me either. The first business model that I learned about was drop shipping, and I thought about implementing it, but only to realize that AliExpress is not supported where I am. It's hard to live in Egypt. And that was a similar problem I kept encountering with everything. There's a dollar crisis here, so any SMMA style thing was completely out the picture because I couldn't run any kind of ads and would be in constant worry of when it would shut down again after it was lifted. A digital product, well, that's not a thing either because Etsy isn't supported where I am, and any kind of refunds would be a freaking nightmare because of said dollar crisis earlier. And so because of all of these issues, it forced me to go as completely narrow and specific as I possibly could to make something work. And in turn, that forced me to understand what a business is at its most fundamental level. An item/service for money. Which I know may not sound groundbreaking to you, but that clarity going into a world as complex as business means a lot. It's also useful because it expands the possibilities into some things that we may have never considered before. Just as a proof of concept, I'll give you the most silly but viable business idea that needs zero skill and zero money. Any idea works so long as it solves a problem and people are willing to pay for it. Say that you're living in an apartment building. You could go and knock on every single door and say, hey, I have a service where I'm willing to get your groceries or orders for you, but I'll add just a small surcharge on top of it for myself. At any amount and at any time. Maybe you'd add like $10 if it's a large order. If you do that for 10 people every day, you'd be making 3K a month, which isn't a grand number, but it's viable. I mean, sure, there are some caveats to this. Maybe you'd need a car or a big vehicle to house all of the orders and get them back and forth. Maybe 10 is too much, so you'd need a way to batch all of the orders so you can cut down the price for them. It's just a thought experiment to show you that it doesn't need to be some secret super hidden idea that is pushed out on social media by a ton for it to work and make some money. If you're good at something, or at least better than the average, and have an internet connection, there is a way to make it work. I have. That's great and all, but I feel that so far we're talking about a very vague level. So how do we personalize it to you? Well, unfortunately I don't know you guys at a personal level. Well, at least not currently. But I still want to help, so how do we do that? Well, aside of the framework that I talked about here, I can make some rough estimations. You're likely 18 to 30-ish, have some interest in business, self-development, and actualization. You probably went through the schooling system and have a hobby or two, but we'll stick for the schooling part because I feel it's the most relevant for the most number of people. If you have decent grades, then you clearly have some system or way for studying that is helping you get there. You could teach that to people or just directly help them and correct their mistakes, so now we have the service. Now the distribution. Well, if your university allows it, you could probably go and put out flyers everywhere, talk to your friends and ask if they have a sibling or a friend of theirs that needs some tutoring. Or just directly walk up to people that you think need it. Contact them and set it up in a day. If it's the first time starting out, you probably should get the first 2 or 3 people on there for free, just to get some testimonials and get your reps in so you feel comfortable later on charging people for it. If that's too awkward, you can just look at one of your hobbies and base it off of that. Say that you really like making coffee. You could offer a 1-day workshop to give someone just the basic barista skills and set it off of that. Maybe it's skateboarding. You could just offer to teach someone some basic tricks and styles. Maybe you have a high-end camera. You could use that to give people portrait-style photos and headshots. The possibilities stretch as far as the eye can see. Sure, this won't make you super rich, but that's not the point of this video. The point of it is to give you the most important ideas and the accompanying simplest action steps that you could do to just take a step forward. Because if you bump into enough things enough times, eventually something will work out. At least that's how it's been for me. I'm just a video editor and a guy making videos on the internet, but I was able to move forward enough that what I was doing at the start seems laughable now to me. And if I can do it, heck, I know you can do the same for yourself. So watch this video if things turned out well and you need to establish a company, and watch this one if you're trying to get more into how to land clients. I have some goodies in the description, and bye.